When the cable car incident happened, my boyfriend instinctively held his foster sister tight. He would rather use his body as a human shield just to keep her alive. The video went viral online, sparking a heated debate. Everyone wondered what they were saying as the cable car plummeted. No one even noticed me, bleeding in the corner. Only I knew back then, as they hugged and cried, he said, "Don't you feel anything for me at all?" How could it be possible? When I opened my eyes, the cable car accident video had been trending for quite some time. The nurse saw me glued to my phone and casually commented while working, "Do you know that couple in the video? That guy was something else, holding on to his girlfriend so tightly during the accident. They were lucky, just minor injuries, unlike you, with broken bones and stitches." The room fell silent for a couple of seconds. I whispered back, "That guy is my fiancé. He proposed to me just last weekend." What? The nurse's face froze, like a paused video. Right then, there was a knock on the door. She breathed a sigh of relief and rushed to open it. But when she saw who it was, she awkwardly stopped, still holding a towel. "Jane?" Alex tentatively called out to me from outside. I ignored him. More so, I didn't even bother to lift my eyes to look at him. The atmosphere was tense. Alex stepped forward a couple of times, nervously rubbing his hands. "Jane, are you still mad? I can explain what happened in the cable car. Please don't be upset. I was worried about you. That's why I'm here as soon as I heard you woke up." I let out a cold laugh and finally shot him a look. "Come here," I motioned with my finger. Alex thought I was about to smooth things over, just like before. His eyes brightened, and he eagerly squatted beside me. "Jane, so you're not mad at me anymore." His speech abruptly ended because, in that instant, I summoned all my strength and slapped him. "Is that thing on your neck a brain tumor? Forgive you? I'll never forgive you. You're like a brainless creature whose mere breath stinks up the place for miles." "Jane, who are you calling?" Alex was dumbfounded. He clutched his face, looking at me incredulously. Before I could continue berating him, Mary rushed in excitedly, shielding him and tenderly rubbing his face. "Are you crazy? How could you hit him? Hit a person?" "Pfft," I spat, "life is dull, and now a toad wants to berate humans. Looks like you both failed to graduate elementary school and turned into animals. I haven't even settled accounts with you, and you dare come at me with accusations? So what if I hit him? If my arms were long enough, you'd be next in line." "You?" Mary was at a loss for words. When I started dating Alex, I treated her like a sister. No matter how fiery my temper, I never once cursed in front of her. Now, thinking back, what a mistake that was. Watching her struggle to say anything, I continued, "I told you to read more books, but you didn't listen. Now, cursing is hard for you. Tell me, what's the point of living when it's difficult for you? Tie a knot in your hair and hang it, now get out of here." "Jane," Alex frowned at me, "don't take it out on Mary." "Leave too." I immediately turned to him, "Don't take it out on Mary." I floored him instantly, "Both of you, pure-blooded idiots, talking to me with your waste organs right after I wake up, you've jinxed my entire day." Alex's face turned different shades, but eventually, he just clenched his fists and led a sobbing Mary toward the door. "Jane, you're too emotional right now, so nothing I say will reach you. Stay here, calm down, and I'll come back when you're ready to give me a chance to explain. Get out now." I threw a slipper at them, but Alex slammed the door too quickly. The slipper didn't land on his face. The room stayed silent for a long while. Only then did the nurse cautiously bring me a glass of water. My head, already aching, hurt even more after the confrontation with those two. So I closed my eyes and lay back down, trying to relax. But with everything swirling in my head like chaos, I found it impossible to stop replaying the events on the cable car. There were 2 rows of seats inside the cabin. Alex and I sat in the front, while Mary sat alone in the back. Yes, ever since Alex and I started dating, whether for a date or a meal, he brought Mary along 9 times out of 10. Whenever I showed the slightest bit of dissatisfaction, Alex would sigh, "Jane, stop acting like a kid. Mary's really unfortunate. You know what my family owes her. If she wants to join, how can I refuse her?" I understood what Alex meant. Mary's situation wasn't a secret in our circle. When there was a mishap in Alex's family's real estate business, Mary's parents died on the construction site. Alex's family wanted to compensate, but no one expected that young Mary, only about 10 years old, would refuse money. Her only demand was for Alex's family to adopt her and treat her just like they did Alex. This made waves in society back then. People thought it was a publicity stunt, but years passed, and Mary indeed lived with Alex's family all these years. I have to admit, I'm pretty soft-hearted. Every time Alex brought up the situation, I'd feel too bad to still kick Mary out, so I just grin and bear it, forcing a smile to welcome her. This time was no different. Even just before the cable car crashed, I was convincing myself, Mary's been through enough. Since I'm with Alex now, I should make it up to her, be nice to her. But then quickly, I realized just how ridiculous I was. Honestly, before today, I never imagined that in a cable car accident, my fiancé would let go of me to hold on to someone else instead. But that's exactly what happened. In that tiny cabin, I got tossed around like a rag doll. Blood, coming from somewhere, blurred my vision with a bright red haze. Yet, throughout it all, Alex didn't spare me a single glance. He just clung to Mary, one hand gripping the rail and the other pressed tightly against her, comforting her at lightning speed, telling her not to be afraid. Twice, I tried reaching for the balance rail myself. But before I could even get close, Alex lifted Mary by the waist with such force that her heel hit me right on the eyelid. They seemed terrified that I might grab hold of them and bring them down too. It wasn't long before my last ounce of strength faded. I just collapsed in a corner, watching the world go dark before my eyes. The wind roared past, almost piercing through my eardrums. Yet I could hear Mary's faint, almost ghostly sobs. Brother, being able to die with you, I've no regrets in this life. You know, I like you, I really like you. Don't you have even a little feeling for me? It might have been a long time or perhaps just a moment. Alex sighed softly. How could I not? Something within me shattered completely. I thought I was a goner for sure. But fate intervened, and the cable car dropped into a man-made lake at the foot of the mountain, letting me narrowly escape death. If, before that day, I was still eagerly waiting to marry Alex. After coming so close to death, all I felt was sheer disgust. What a pair they are. Brotherly love in front of me, a forbidden romance behind my back. What am I? Just part of their twisted game? Realizing this, I snapped my eyes open. Caught up in watching the video, I'd forgotten to make an announcement. I grabbed my phone, opened the wedding planning group chat. I'm not getting married. Everyone, just leave the group. Friends and family, having seen the viral video by now, kept a knowing silence. Only Alex's parents jumped in, panicking. Jane, don't act on impulse, there's a misunderstanding. Yeah, you should be more forgiving, let it go. I let out a cold laugh. I never liked Alex's parents from the start. Compared to mine, they're complete businessmen. Their advice probably stems from fear that the wedding's off and it'll affect our family's future cooperation. But I was in no mood to be fair and forgiving. I typed out my rebuttal. Why should I be forgiving? My life motto is an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. They say be lenient when you can, but why should I relent when I'm in the right? Everyone else remained quietly in sync, saying nothing. But Alex, used to my friendly face for too long, didn't believe I'd really let him go, and tried his usual tactics. Jane, don't overdo it. My parents genuinely like you, don't let them down. I sneered. Phones are so smart now, even pigs can type? Facing defeat, Mary chimed in. Sister, please don't be mad. The cable car incident was urgent. My brother's instinct was to save me first, not you. I apologize, okay? Punish me if you must, whatever makes you feel better. Alex, likely not with her, quickly reassured her in the chat. Mary, this is between Jane and me. Don't be silly and take the blame. Mary replied with a crying emoji. I was nauseated. Exposed now, they danced right in front of my face? I quickly typed, practically steaming. Mary, I hear green tea cures athlete's foot. Given your talents, I must have been blind not to see you for who you really are. Stay out of my sight, or I'll insult you every time I see you. Alex, oftentimes I can't find the words, but meeting you has been truly unlucky. With so many friends and family still in the chat, aren't you embarrassed yet? You two are truly a perfect and complete match, just marry each other already. No need to change the group name. After my rant, I exited the group and blocked them. Out of sight, out of mind, I never want to cross paths with them again. On another note, fearing my parents would worry, I preemptively removed them from the group, forbidding anyone to tell them I was in the hospital. But a few days later, overseas for business, my parents stumbled on the news of the cable car accident online. Worried sick, they booked a flight home immediately. Before boarding, anxious that I wasn't getting the best care, they hastily arranged for me to transfer to a private hospital. As an orderly wheeled me out to transfer hospitals, who did I see, again, by sheer bad luck, but Alex. In these few days, to avoid added frustrations, I'd hired 2 bodyguards to stand watch at the stairwell. Whenever Alex showed up, they'd rough him up. It seemed he learned to be clever, lying in wait among the first-floor crowds. Upon seeing me, he stepped forward hugging flowers. "It's been days, Jane. You should be calm enough, let's talk." He approached as he spoke. I quickly pointed at him, yelling, "Stop. I feel there should be a basic distance between people. Especially between me and those I hate. I wish they'd just disappear from my life entirely." Alex halted at my pointing finger, his brow furrowed so deeply it could crush flies. "Jane, what's up with you? You're so aggressive, hardly acting like a well-bred lady." I nearly burst out laughing in rage. "You're so low and want me to be high, a miracle the country hasn't researched bulletproof vests from your skin yet. If you're sick, see a doctor. You might not have much, but your mom must have given you a $10 copay, right?" Alex's face stiffened. Who knows why, but I hit a nerve with that. His face darkened, he tossed the flowers down. "Jane." Alex seethed, gritting his teeth. "I've humbled myself long enough. You're being unreasonable. Remember, you're the one not cherishing this, so don't regret it later. To tell you the truth, I never liked you. Had it not been for my parents' interest, I wouldn't have chased you at all. The one who truly matters to me has always been Mary. She's 1,000 times better than you. Keep playing hard to get, and see if I care. Who'd want to marry someone like you anyway?" Alex blurted out, his chest heaving with anger. I just stared coldly at him. Only then did I really see him for who he was. "Get out." I clenched my fists. "I'm not saying it again. You want to walk out of here upright, then don't bark at me." Alex glared at me with hatred. For a moment, he stomped on the flowers and stormed out. The following days were a blur. With my parents and a personal doctor's care, I bounced back quickly. In the meantime, my folks, furious on my behalf, cut all business ties with Alex's family. Word is, Alex's parents were frantic, like ants on a hot pan. The real estate market's been crappy for years. They were banking on my family's fashion resources to make a switch. Otherwise, why rush Alex into proposing? But now, my parents pulled the rug from under them and everything went up in smoke. So, they pushed Alex to apologize to me. Surprisingly, Alex stood his ground this time. Heard he took quite a beating but refused to back down, insisting on marrying Mary. Alex is their only son, so his parents couldn't exactly kill him. Eventually, they set a condition. If Alex could revive their dying fashion venture without our help, they'd agree to his marriage with Mary. That's what my parents discreetly told me. Probably to gauge if I still had feelings for Alex. When they saw my eyes filled with disdain and disgust, they turned away, exhaling deeply. Honestly, I don't think Alex is cut out for this. His taste is off, he's a mama's boy, and lacks decision-making skills. He's okay, as an employee, but definitely not leadership material. If he could make the company soar, pigs would have flown by now. That's how I saw it and couldn't care less. But soon after, about half a month later, I stumbled upon him all over social media. Tons of marketing accounts were pushing him hard. Their posts were oddly similar. Remember the good-looking couple from the cable car accident? Turns out they're siblings. They overcame all odds and started a couple's brand called Love, meaning only love. It's legendary. Who wouldn't love it? They linked to the Vlove's official account. Clicking through, you'd see Alex and Mary's dozen or so sweet interactions. And finally, a live stream announcement. Want to know what we said during that cable car drop? Join us Friday at 8 p.m. on our vlog livestream for the reveal. Loads of folks were eager in the comments. Honestly, up to that point, I was just grossed out. But then, I saw 2 comments. So far, the only couple brand for me is SOT. Got all my couple stuff from them. Let's see if you guys can catch up. Sweetie, we're not comparing with a copycat brand. My blood boiled instantly. Truth is, SOT is a brand under my family's company, and I lead the design team. Stealing the spotlight is one thing, but dragging me through the mud? Big no-no. If they're asking for it, don't blame me for laying it on. I cracked my knuckles, ready to type in the comments. Could your drama be as little as your family's money? It's okay to be uneducated, you can learn. Ugly? Get surgery. But a bad heart, that's incurable. In your case, I suggest avoiding lightning on rainy days, you might get your wits knocked in place. And seriously, don't act like the whole world's a dump just because you're a maggot. SOT's never copied, dare to claim otherwise, then show some proof. Otherwise, I'm calling you out for projecting. Those comments vanished fast. But not faster than the eager fingers of the internet. Within no time, a wave of curious onlookers flooded my account. While the buzz was high, I teased my own live stream. Curious about what they said during the cable car drop? Funny thing, I was there too. Join me Friday at 7 p.m. for a sneak peek into the truth. I'd never publicly addressed the cable car incident until now. Even though I was the one who stood to lose the most. I figured Alex and I were on the same page. People like us put family, business, and stock prices first. Airing personal grievances was taboo, worse was burning bridges. It didn't just risk damaging our companies, it made us laughingstocks. But now, he's using this for profit and tarnishing my name. I just can't swallow this one. The internet was jumping between our accounts. And underneath the vlog account, what started as a sugary love fest spun out. Everyone was asking. Could someone explain what's really going on? Am I seeing things? Didn't spot anyone else in the cable car video? Where'd this person come from? Up there, she's the rich girl of a mega company, SOT is their brand. Word is she and Alex were engaged. What? I came for a fake siblings love story and now we got a fiancé in the mix. Alright, I honestly couldn't care less about whether it's plagiarized or not anymore. What I really care about is the relationship between these 3 people. The official vlog account spent half the day deleting stuff, but they realized they couldn't finish it. So, they had to post a new live stream announcement. Don't let those who have an agenda sway you. We'll clear up all the issues during the live stream. But just to prevent any preemptive slander, we've moved the stream to Friday at 6 p.m. I laughed. Who's trying to preemptively slander and take over public opinion, huh? Who's playing the thief crying stop thief? I went on to post. I'll start my stream at 5 p.m. The comments section got lively again. 5 p.m. won't work. I won't be out of school by then. I'll still be at work too. Why not just connect a call after 7 p.m.? Yeah, do that. As soon as someone said it, a flood of people chimed in. Since that's the case, I have no objections if they dare. Everyone suddenly started commenting at the vlog official account. Alex and Mary were caught between a rock and a hard place. They had no choice but to reluctantly agree. That Saturday, I made sure to prepare a few things ahead of time. Then I just waited quietly for 7 p.m. to roll around. Because the cable car accident video had become such a hot topic online and given our unique identities, people eagerly waited for the drama. Just a few minutes after the stream started, thousands of viewers rushed in. I looked at Alex and Mary on the screen, people I hadn't seen in ages, and couldn't hold back a snicker. At that sound, Mary actually shrank behind Alex. Comments began flying across the screen. Why does it seem like Mary's kinda afraid of Jane? Who wouldn't be scared of a woman that strong? Ha! My smile turned more mocking. Isn't that Mary's usual tactic? Playing the helpless card to make everyone feel sorry for her. I've been fooled by it before. Seeing me staring at her, Mary seemed even more scared. She squeezed her voice, timidly calling out, "Sister." I just rolled my eyes and said, "Just talk normally, unless you want me to come over and give you a real blush with my hand." Alex seemed a bit nervous. He hadn't said a word since the stream started, but hearing me rebut Mary, he came to life and quickly pulled her behind him. He frowned at me. Why are you still so confrontational? After so many days in the hospital, didn't you learn to mellow out? I scoffed. No trash bags available now, huh? You better start faking it. Mellowing out? If a dog bit you, wouldn't you get mad? If you don't like me, you can just drop dead. I'm not changing. You. Alex was so mad he couldn't even speak. More comments flew by. Guys, don't start arguing, answer our questions. Yeah. I have homework to do. Could you clear things up and then argue? There were so many questions from the audience that everyone suggested picking a random commenter to join our chat and act as a representative to ask questions. I did just that. It connected to a college girl. She let out a little scream and excitedly asked me, "Sis, were you really in the cable car then?" I nodded. Alex and Mary didn't deny it either. The girl understood and said to me, "Sis, you kept quiet for so long, that's impressive." Then she turned to Alex and asked, "Alex, what's your relationship with these two sisters?" Alex's forehead vein jumped visibly. The girl quickly added, "No lying, lying gets struck by lightning." Jane was my ex-fiancé, and Mary is my current fiancé, he said. The girl gave a knowing "oh" and turned back to me. "So, during the cable car accident, which one of you was his fiancé?" I chuckled, "Me." The live stream chat exploded. The reason the cable car accident video spread so widely was because it had the perfect love story vibe. Someone risking their life to save their lover is moving, right? But now people were realizing the truth. The real loved one was falling to pieces out of sight, but Alex chose to protect someone else. No way, it went from perfect love story to cheating scandal, and my tears were wasted. Isn't that a bit harsh? In life or death moments, it's not wrong to protect your own sister, right? It's like the save your mom or girlfriend from drowning scenario. Oh, are you a paid commenter up there? What sister? Weren't they marketed as a long-forbidden love that finally blossomed? Feelings for a sister, more like. Man, I feel bad for the rich girl. From the live stream, it looks like she's still in the hospital, right? Must have hit hard. About that, let me explain. Alex looked at the comments and spoke fast. "I hope you'll give me some time and not jump to conclusions." I saw it coming. From the moment he had no choice but to agree to the call, he must have seen this coming. No way he didn't have something prepared. Sure enough, as everyone quieted down in anticipation, Alex suddenly started crying. I don't know if anyone can understand, but in our circles, so often, what's suitable outweighs what we love. Besides, with Mary and my situation, our feelings are somewhat inappropriate. I admit I'm not brave enough to withstand external pressure, which is why I ended up in a business marriage. But I swear from the moment I got engaged to Jane, Mary and I had no improper interactions. I respect my fiancé and am making an effort to love her. But life sure loves to mess with you, and something happened that you all know about. I really thought I was gonna die, so I just held Mary tight and spilled my heart out to her. Didn't expect I'd make it out alive. I figure it's some kind of sign from above, so I'm gonna be brave this time. I'm willing to cover all of Jane's medical bills, emotional damages, and whatever we spent during our relationship, as long as she and everyone else give me a chance to stand beside Mary. Alex finished his long speech and gave a deep bow to the camera. Big, fat tears splashed onto the light gray carpet he had picked just for this, leaving obvious dark spots. Mary was crying in the background too, nearly fainting. It was such a tragic scene that even the online comments started to change direction. Oh man, he's crying. Let's not jump to conclusions without knowing everything. I think Alex sounds pretty genuine. I mean, being rich doesn't mean you can marry whoever you like. Plus, he offered compensation, which seems fair. Doesn't anyone think Jane looks way too calm? Of course, she's calm. It's a business marriage, it's not like she's putting in a ton of feelings. They probably hit a snag in negotiations. I smirked at the comments and then looked into the camera with a slight grin. Alex, that's all you have to say? Alex's lips moved, for now. Yeah. I nodded, alright, then it's my turn. It can't be cheap to hire bots and a PR team to write your story, right? Sometimes, I think if you hooked up your brain to a water tap, you could solve Africa's water problems. It's 2023. Do you really think just playing the victim will win you a public opinion battle? Words aren't enough. You need evidence, but I doubt you have any. Sorry, I'm gonna bring out the evidence now. Looking straight at the camera, I made a pause gesture. Hey, everyone, hold off on the comments. I've put together a PDF addressing 3 things. First, whether Alex and I had a business marriage with no personal feelings. Second, if Mary ever behaved like a proper sister after Alex and I started dating. Third, a breakdown of the cable car accident. Once I finished talking, Alex and Mary stopped crying. Even the college student we were streaming with was stunned. Sister, this is too advanced. You're not telling me you prepared all this beforehand? I nodded and smiled. At least I got into Harvard with my grades back then, even if I chose to study abroad instead. I'm not like some folks who pay their way into a shady college and pretend they're elite when they can't even sort their logic out and have to earn sympathy by playing the victim. Anyone can dig around and find out who went to a second-rate college. For a moment, the comments slowed down, probably because everyone was digging for info. Soon enough, they'd piece together a completely different reality than what Alex described. He was saying we had a business deal and he had no choice. But back then, he was the one chasing me, with sweet talk and all, until I finally started falling for him and agreed to marry him. And as for Mary, that story's even crazier. She was at every single date Alex and I had. She'd either hold his arm or wear his clothes, use his phone. They even showed up in matching outfits so many times restaurant staff mistook them for a couple instead of us. I laid it all out, one thing after another. The first few people who read it came back amazed. With photos and text, key points highlighted, you'd need some academic skills to pull this off. Sister, you're incredible. Geez, a guy's words are like an old lady's teeth, hardly any of it is real. So he said Mary was his true love, but he was actually courting you? This dude wanted everything. Almost got fooled. Alex and Mary just stood there dumbfounded. They planned to use the publicity to launch a new brand, then leverage it to boost the company's fashion industry, hoping to save their declining business. Too bad, they popped the champagne too soon. They planned for everything, except me as a wild card. Once the comment section got flooded with haters, their hired bots couldn't handle it anymore. They tried to explain but quickly logged out. Meanwhile, I happily sent out some generous gifts. Time to celebrate getting rid of a jerk. I added. Anyone who badmouthed me earlier, no gifts for you. After the stream ended, I suddenly remembered I hadn't explained the plagiarism thing. But people seemed too absorbed in the big reveals to worry about such a minor detail. Folks in the industry who caught the stream reached out. We barely know each other, but they messaged me. Jane, you and Alex made such a scene. Aren't you worried it will hurt the company image? I chuckled, typing quickly until my replies left them speechless. I suddenly felt that I'd learned something. All this time, I'd been taught that a rich girl should act like one, be gentle, keep her cool, stay graceful, and never burn bridges. I followed these rules, and what did I get? Betrayal, disregard, and a web of lies. Honestly, I should thank Alex and Mary. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't have discovered how satisfying it is to get revenge. Who cares about being graceful? Feeling good is all that matters. The Vlove official account hasn't posted anything since the public backlash. Even my parents commented. Heard they stocked up tons of products expecting them to sell out, but now everything's stuck in the warehouse with no plan B. I snickered, not hiding my disdain. Honestly, I do look down on them. With just the two of them, they've got no chance to turn things around. If they keep pushing, Alex's family will lose everything. I was just talking without thinking, but somehow, like a self-fulfilling prophecy, Alex and Mary surprised me again real soon. By then, I was already out of the hospital, and my personal account had gained over 1 million followers. People were constantly bugging me for more tutorials on how to roast someone. I had no choice but to change my profile picture to a lotus flower. Seriously, I don't normally curse. The comment section was flooded with memes. Really? I don't believe it. Among those copy-paste memes, one comment stood out. Someone posted a picture. Hey guys, aren't the models for this store Alex and Mary? I went shopping today, and there was this huge poster inside the store. The more I looked at it, the more it seemed like their backs. Did they open a physical store because they were scared of online backlash? I clicked on the picture to take a closer look, and when I got back to the comments, there were already a ton of replies. My eyes don't lie. Those backs are definitely them. I did a quick search. This brand's been popping up in tons of malls recently with all sorts of marketing. And then someone added, I did some searching too. Why do these pieces from their new collection look so familiar? Sometimes, I have to hand it to these internet sleuths. Even I, who have known Alex and Mary for a long time, couldn't be sure it was them just from a poster. But these netizens had already dug up every possible detail about the brand. Turned out it really was Love, revamped and setting up shop offline. And yes, that poster indeed featured Alex and Mary. I couldn't help but be sarcastic about it. Seems like I wasn't wrong after all. Alex's head is nothing but a tumor. Anyone else would know to stay low during a time like this, but not him. He couldn't wait to open a shop and sell off stuff, all while sneakily trying to let others witness their love. Having such a huge poster, aren't they practically begging for trouble? Not long after, someone pointed out that one of the brand's main seasonal pieces looked eerily similar to a prize-winning design overseas. I clicked it, and I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. This boomerang came back faster than expected. Alex's put a ton of money into this. If they can't make it back, he'll have a broken chain in no time. So as the criticism grew, he had no choice but to respond. Yes, we're behind this brand, but we're not plagiarizing, we're paying tribute. And hey, didn't SOT pay tribute to the same award-winning series too? Why aren't you attacking Jane? If I'm plagiarizing, so is SOT. I laughed. This is a weak argument, trying to drag me down with him. I immediately posted 9 pictures from the winning series, saying, wipe your eyes clean before you talk, see whose name's in the corner? I'm alive and kicking, don't need your tribute. Are your English names Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V with how much you love copying others? Yep, those were designs from a competition I entered while studying abroad. The website just edited out my signature to make it look better. Now that he's messed with me, Alex truly hit a brick wall. He clearly didn't think that while stealing ideas overseas, he'd end up stealing from me. But now's not the time for them to admit mistakes, or else both the brand and he himself would be nailed to the plagiarism wall. So that evening, Alex posted a comparison set. Completely unrelated designs, but he strained to link them, accusing me of plagiarism instead. Doesn't anyone else see the similarity in designs? I hit back with my main account, you're a bit like Shakespeare, too. You're an idiot. Brains and intestines look similar, did you shove stuff from your intestines into your head? Instead of barking at me, go guard a neighborhood entrance. At least that would give your life some value. Recently, Alex's family poured in too much investment with no returns in sight. Alex couldn't even afford hired internet defenders and was soon mocked off by netizens. Even his physical stores got spray-painted overnight with plagiarized brand that not even dogs buy. Looks like Alex's family business might be hitting a rough patch. Shockingly, his parents came down a notch and personally brought gifts to my doorstep. Alex and Mary stood in front, heads down, looking like they were being paraded criminals. My mom opened the door and froze at the scene. Alex's mom quickly wrapped her arm around my mom's. Honey, long time no see. My mom snapped back to reality and immediately pulled her arm back with a blank expression. I came over just then, and seeing Alex's mom edging towards the living room, I blocked her path. No need to come in, if you've got something to say it here. You child. Nothing to say? Then leave. I stated as I was closing the door, and Alex's father quickly reached out, struggling to keep the door from shutting. There is. We're here today to see if you could acquire that offline brand. It would be just like pulling out a hair for you. Uncle, I raised my eyes to him. Alex's father nodded repeatedly, yes, Jane, you say. Why don't you install a money printing machine at home, get some kind of currency count? You haven't realized what makes you think our family would clean up after your mess, have you? Jane. Alex suddenly stepped up and shoved the door open, how dare you speak like this? I'll talk how I want. But you, with a brain no bigger than a seed, do you even deserve to speak to me? If not, maybe go get a head check, see if God didn't just close a door on you, but also used it to smash your brains. Or else, why would you amount to nothing but trouble? Alex's face darkened. I added, turning dark won't change the fact you're an idiot. Things were getting heated, so Alex's mom hurriedly pulled him back. "Jane, don't be mad." She shoved Mary forward, hitting her hard on the shoulder. "It's all this little vixen's fault. If it weren't for her, would you and Alex be in this mess today? How about if Auntie sends her back to her rural home? You and Alex have such a strong foundation. Without her interference, you two can surely make up. Then, when you acquire that brand, you can have Alex work for you as a punishment. Deal?" "Mom." Alex pulled Mary behind him. Weren't they supposed to come and apologize? Why are they trying to kick Mary out? Besides, I don't even like Jane. I sarcastically shrugged at Alex's mom. "See, your son even said it himself." Then I turned to Alex and suddenly slapped him. "I know you don't like me. But even a dung beetle doesn't like gold ingots." Alex was stunned for a moment, and when he realized what happened, he tried to retaliate. But his parents held him down tightly. After all, they were counting on me to help them out of their mess. However, that's not gonna happen. I had warned them multiple times that the fashion industry wasn't easy to break into. But they were so tempted by my family's company's success that they just had to dive in. And now, they just have to pay for their foolish decision. Once Alex's family was dragged out by security, my mom immediately checked my hand. "Are you okay? You haven't fully recovered, how could you use so much force?" He insulted me. Slapping him once was barely anything. I wanted to turn into an octopus and slap him with 8 hands. All right. My mom sighed. "Then I'll turn into an octopus too, and we'll slap him with all 16 hands together." After that day, Alex's family came back several times. But I had already warned security in advance. Every time, they were stopped firmly at the entrance. Meanwhile, Alex's storefronts started shutting down one after another. Looks like they wanted to launch their luxury couples brand with a bang, but ended up shooting their own company's lifeline. It's just ridiculous. Compared to me, my dad was more concerned about Alex's family. At the dinner table, he sighed. At this rate, Alex's family will have to file for bankruptcy in about 3 months. After he spoke, he sneakily glanced at me. I immediately raised my hands in surrender. "Dad, you've tested me like 800 times. If I go soft, then let me buy a soda without a tab, bubble tea without a straw, watermelon filled with seeds, and let me get flipped off while driving, okay?" My dad was satisfied and looked away. That night, I was lying in bed reading a comic when a call from an unknown number popped up on my phone. I was flipping pages, and without thinking, I answered it. The other side said hello. The voice was familiar, but I couldn't quite place it. Just when I was about to ask, the person on the line suddenly started crying. "Jane, please let my brother go. Give him a chance. I'm willing to accept any punishment. If you don't want to see me again, I can leave tonight and go somewhere no one knows me. I promise not to bother you anymore." Finally, I knew who it was. Maybe it was the peaceful night, maybe the comic that calmed me. I didn't expect I could talk to Mary so calmly. "I think you're strange. In a way, isn't Alex's family your enemy? And here you are, begging me like this for the enemy's son?" Mary sniffled. "Yes, you're right. When I first came to Alex's house, I did see them as enemies. I wanted to bring them down every day to avenge my parents, but his brother has been too good to me. He was even willing to stand up to his parents for me. I feel I shouldn't blame him for the previous generation's mistakes." "I get it. You're in love, so your parents died for nothing?" Mary was taken aback, not expecting me to say it like that. She awkwardly changed the topic. "Jane, I know you still like my brother. It's just that as someone like you, you're not used to backing down. You're waiting for an opportunity to make up, right?" I was completely speechless. Seems like I was too patient with her tonight. "You're really a piece of work. Just what gave you the illusion that I would like someone so useless?" "My brother isn't useless. He has many good qualities. And as women, I don't believe one can move on from feelings so quickly. You definitely still like my brother, but because he didn't give you a way out, and you're not good at backing down, it ended up like this indeed. Birds of a feather flock together." I abruptly cut off the call. I really didn't want to think about this, yet here was Mary, dragging it out. One day, while I was working in my office, the receptionist called, saying some guy was causing a commotion, insisting I come down to see him. He said you kidnapped his fiancé. I frowned, my mind vaguely forming a guess. Just then, chaos erupted on the other end. The receptionist yelped, and then I heard Alex's hysterical yelling over the receiver. "Jane, what did you say to Mary? Why did she leave a note and disappear? She said in the note that I should reconcile with you and appease you. Did you tell her to say that?" I impatiently frowned and moved the receiver away. "If you're that bored, why don't you swap places with my dog? Seriously, you think too highly of yourself." I checked Mary's call records. Her last call was to you. "I don't care, you have to bring her back." I was even more irritated. "Why don't you just check what she told me since you can see her call records?" Alex was taken aback. "Wow, you're in luck that the Grim Reaper napped and let a fool like you be king for a day. I've never met anyone as dumb as you. If you're so embarrassed, just call the cops. What good am I to you?" I hung up, frustrated to no end. Half an hour later, the police brought Alex upstairs. That fool actually told the police I kidnapped Mary. I could only repeat everything Mary had said and suggested. Her phone might be on silent, but you can probably track her location through it. At the airport. I crossed my arms, coldly watching the two people holding each other tightly not far away. Because I was involved in the case, I had to waste an entire afternoon stuck with Alex, this fool. Now, he finally found Mary wandering outside the airport. This person didn't even buy a plane ticket. I even doubt that if Alex hadn't looked for her today, she'd probably drag her suitcase home this evening anyway. The two were hugging each other when Mary suddenly pushed Alex away. "Brother, I've decided to give you to Sister Jane. It's the only way to save you, to save the company. You should go be with her, I have to leave now." "Where are you going?" I sneered and walked over. When the police officer wasn't looking, I swung my arm and gave her a quick, sharp slap. "Mary, I take back what I said before. You two aren't entirely useless, at least when it comes to making trouble for others, you're truly exceptional at that." Mary was stunned by my slap, clutching her face, her eyes red and teary. "Brother." As soon as that voice with a triple twist came out, Alex raised his hand towards me like he was on a spree. I quickly said, "If you lay a finger on me, wait and see if you're bankrupt in 3 days." Alex frowned, and while he hesitated, I turned my head and shouted. "Officer, he's trying to hit me." The policeman immediately rushed over and separated us. Mary's eyes were as red as a rabbit's. "Sis, why are you doing this? I'm clearly trying to help you and brother make up, you clearly still care about him." I couldn't help but laugh. Yes, I care about him. I care if he lives or dies. If you dare use me as the seasoning in your love soup again, I'll throw you both in a pot of hot oil and see which one of you fries first. That slap earlier, well. I glanced at the officer. Caress, yes, caress, was your final warning. If you harass me again, I'll caress you so much your own mom won't recognize you. When I finished speaking, the air was so still you could hear a pin drop. Alex's face was almost contorted with anger. But a fool's a fool, he didn't even have the vocabulary to argue back effectively. He just stood there puffing like a bull. Pathetic. I sneered and, after confirming with the police that I was free to leave, called my assistant. Soon, a car screeched to a stop in front of us. I opened the door and gave them one last look. I'm someone with trypophobia, I can't stand being close to people who overthink. So I hope this is our last meeting. With that, I hopped in. Goodbye. I waved. Never see you again. End of main story. Bonus. To vent my anger, I intercepted 2 of Alex's family's remaining business partners within a week. Yep, those were their only 2 left. Alex called out to me from outside hesitantly. However, I didn't expect Alex's parents, seeing no other way out, to change the legal representative to Mary overnight, quickly transfer assets, and destroy records. That's jail time right there. Alex had no idea and only found out when Mary called him for help after his parents tricked him into going to the airport. For a moment, he went nuts, trying to jump out of the car and threatening to kill himself. Alex's parents had no choice but to let him go. Alex's mom was crying her eyes out, but his dad was furious. Sob all you want, it's like raising pork buns for sons. But still, their pork bun of a son soon ratted them out. Within a week, they were tricked back into the country by Alex. When cuffed, several officers couldn't even hold Alex's dad back. He kicked Alex repeatedly until Alex was coughing up blood and collapsing to the ground, barely conscious. I wasted my life on you. But Mary's life is ruined by you too. Alex's dad wanted to jump down and beat him up some more. But in the end, Alex's mom, who couldn't bear it, pulled him back. These scenes were retold many times in gatherings. When it came to Alex, people didn't know whether to sneer or sigh. How could he ruin such a good hand of cards and send his whole family off to jail for a reunion? End.